You know what I've heard more times than I can count? Somebody saying, "Hey, Daniel, it was when I started living my life again that my insomnia started to disappear." But I've also heard the following more times than I can count. "Hey, Daniel, I'm living my life exactly as I did before, and I'm not sleeping any better." How can we reconcile these two? What is the truth here? In this episode, a brand new perspective that I hope will be extremely helpful on your path to where you want to be. Hi there. Hope this is a wonderful day in your life. And I'm glad you're here because there is something new I've been really wanting to teach about here on the channel. And it is the answer to this very, very common question slash conundrum slash, confusing a topic about what it means to live your life again, what it means to actually exert effort, be more active in a way that is helpful. And I know I already, kind of reviewed this in the intro, but what I've heard so many times is somebody saying something like that. So it was when I started living my life, regardless of how I slept, that insomnia lost its power over me, that I started to actually sleep easier, sleep longer, et cetera, et cetera. But I also heard this so many times. Daniel, I'm actually doing everything exactly as I did before. I'm living my life exactly as I did before I had insomnia, and nothing has changed for me. So this, again, this can be so confusing because when you hear stories of how people left their struggle, you can think, okay, if I just do exactly what this person did, things will be easier for me. And when that doesn't happen, you can think, oh no, there must be something wrong with me because I am doing exactly what this person did and things haven't changed for me. So really what I want to talk about here was this, but I've broken it up into three sections. One, we're going to fully understand this kind of conundrum, and then I want to share this new perspective, new teaching that I have not shared before that I think will be really helpful. And then we kind of summarize that in the third section, which is the way to peaceful sleep. So what is the conundrum here? Well, the conundrum here is the following, that if somebody says, literally like the thumbnail says here, like, oh, you got to reclaim sleep by living your life. Well, that's tricky. That is not going to lead to where you want to go. This is going to lead to more struggle, because if you are quote unquote living your life with the intent of achieving more sleep, then that is what we call an effort. An effort is something we do with the intent of achieving, controlling, or managing our sleep. And that is not helpful because sleep is an effortless process. In fact, peaceful sleep and peace of mind are both from a place of effortlessness. They both happen when we're not trying to achieve them. They happen automatically when there's no effort to achieve them. On the other hand, freedom is a helpful part of leaving the struggle when we make decisions not from a place of trying to manage or control, but when we're just like doing whatever we feel like. That is often really helpful. But again, we see this conundrum here because when you hear me say this, you're like, "Hey, Daniel was saying that it's helpful to do things, just because you feel like them. So shouldn't I do that then? Shouldn't I do things I feel like so that I get past this trouble I have?" And again, you see the conundrum here, and how can we reconcile them? How can we reconcile those two? How can we reconcile the idea that it is helpful to perhaps be more active and in some sense deploy more effort, do more things, expend more energy, and at the same time, keep that from being something that sustains a struggle, right? And another way to ask this question is, when is an active life helpful, or is it at all, right? So this is the conundrum that we're facing. And now we're going to look at this new perspective. And I want to start this by saying that typically when people have faced this conundrum, the answer that I've shared or many of our coaches share is something along like it's all about the intent. It's the, like, when you say living your life, what is the intent of that? Are you intending to control sleep, or are you just intending to do whatever you feel like, right? And that is true, but I think there is actually another way that can be much more helpful for real clarity, to understand the intent, like to understand all this. And to explore this new perspective, we are going to use like a thought experiment here. We're going to imagine a friend of ours named Lily, and Lily is housebound due to sleep anxiety, worries about sleep. She has gradually started to like limit her life, avoid things. Maybe it started with her avoiding going out late in the evening to make sure she got enough time for sleep, right? But that didn't help. Then she started to avoid her coffee, let's say, and then she started avoiding, social gatherings in the afternoon, and this has evolved now to a point where our friend Lily is literally housebound. Lily does not leave her house because she's so scared that anything she does is gonna create sleep struggles for her. Then she hears somebody saying, "You need to live your life again." And she starts, quote unquote, doing that. She, little by little, starts to do things she did before, like socializing, going out, engaging in hobbies, activities, maybe going back to work, things of that nature. And her sleep anxiety fades. She finds herself arriving at a place where she has more peace of mind and peaceful sleep. The question for us here becomes, did Lily A do more, or did Lily B do less? And I'm seeing that there's a typo here. We have forgotten to use a capital L for Lily. So now I'll fix that. Anyways, did Lily, in the example we looked at, do A more or B less? And so maybe you want to pause there and think about this for a second, see what answer you arrive at. But now I'm going to present the case for both. I'm going to first present the case for Lily actually did more. If we imagine ourselves being like an alien observer who just like seeing Lily first, just staying in her house, like eating, using the restroom, going to her bed at night, that's all she does. And then we see Lily like leaving the house for long stretches of time, maybe going out for a run, meeting her friends, like things of that nature. The alien observer would say, obviously, Lily's doing more. Optically, Lily's clearly doing more, right? And another way we can support this perspective is from a calorimetric perspective. I don't think that's a real word, but there is such a thing as a calorimeter, which basically measures our expenditure of energy. And in the example we had, in all likelihood, Lily is actually spending more. She's spending more energy. She's using up more energy now than she did when she was housebound. So again, we can say that this supports that Lily is actually doing more, right? But then we have the other perspective, and this is to me the eye-opening part. From the perspective of avoiding anxiety, Lily is doing less now, or she did less now, much less. Because what we really want to understand here is that when Lily was housebound, it may optically appear as she's hardly doing anything at all. But from the perspective of her sleep anxiety, her whole life is just one big avoidance effort. It's one big attempt to not be anxious, which means she's doing an incredible amount of avoidance, right? This is just one huge avoidance effort. So when Lily starts to do less of that, then it optically it may appear that she's doing more. But again, from the perspective of sleep anxiety, she's actually doing less now, and that's what's leading to things getting easier for her. And same thing from the perspective of achieving sleep. Again, the way she was living her life when she was housebound was just one big attempt to avoid sleep anxiety and or achieving more sleep. And now she's not doing that anymore. She's doing much less from the perspective of trying to achieve sleep. And to summarize this new perspective, when we look at effort, doing, activity, behavior change like that, to understand things clearly, what we want to do is actually always look at effort from the perspective of the thing we tried to avoid. Again, to summarize that with Lily's example, when she was housebound, it may optically look like she was doing very little, but she was doing a lot. to try to avoid sleep anxiety. And then when she was more active, it looks just like, okay, she's doing more stuff, but from the perspective of sleep anxiety, she was starting to wind down that she was not doing anything, let's say, in the end of this, in this scenario, when she found peaceful sleep and peace of mind. And so this perspective, I think this leads to true clarity. Now it's not so confusing anymore when somebody says, hey, I started to just live my life, and that became the, the end of my insomnia. When we understand this from the perspective of, insomnia as a form of anxiety, and that we previously tried to avoid anxiety, then we see like, living my life again. That just means you're no longer doing so much to try to avoid your anxiety. Okay, now it makes sense. And this also answers the question of like, is activity important? It's really not. It's unless we see activity as like, effort again, like effort as in trying to avoid anxiety, or avoid difficult emotions, or avoid lack of sleep, something like that, then activity matters, because the attempt to avoid things is tricky. But activity as in kind of like the optics of it, like going out, running, like, just expending expending energy itself doesn't matter, right? So I just want to kind of complete like a question I'd mentioned before. So yeah, what is the way to peaceful sleep here? I think firstly, like the one thing we really want to understand is this principle of effortlessness, that peaceful sleep and peace of mind, they have no requirements. They happen by themselves when we're not trying to achieve them. And then pair that with this understanding that effort is not like anything we do. Like effort, when we talk about effort, it's really the attempt to avoid something, avoid some inner experience that we have started to think of as a threat, but it's actually harmless. And I call this a token. It's a word that you'll hear more and more on this channel. A token is something that is inherently harmless, but that we've started to think of as a threat. So wakefulness can become tokenized. It's inherently harmless to be awake, but we can start to think of it as a threat. Feeling anxious can be tokenized. Feeling anxious is inherently harmless, but if we can start to think of it as a threat, that's a token. So effort, we really want to see from the perspective of this token, the thing we have tried to avoid. And when we see this, we can really, we can automatically and effortlessly be on this path to where we want to be, a place of peaceful mind and peaceful sleep. We will conclude there. Hope this was helpful to you. Let me know in the comment section, and thanks for being here. Bye for now.
Hi, it's me, Coach Daniel, and I hope that the video you just saw brought a lot of value, perhaps a new insight, perhaps something clicked for you, perhaps there was something fresh that you hadn't thought about before. But apart from that, I just want to say thank you. I want to extend here a big thank you to everyone who has gone out of their way to leave a review, perhaps a review on Amazon of Tales of Courage or another book, or perhaps a review of BedTyme on Google Play or the App Store, or perhaps a review on a podcast platform. Those reviews are so incredibly helpful, because we live in this connected world now. Somebody from Botswana can leave a review that somebody from Finland reads, and that inspires them to get into our teachings, which then leads to more and more people finding a way that can lead them to peaceful sleep and peace of mind. And this is the way that I believe we can make a real dent in the sleep universe. So I just want to say thank you so much. This means the world to me. I look forward to seeing you soon again. Bye for now.